this tutorial, we're gonna explain how to measure the course learning outcomes in the direct assessment method in the course level by the use of the Excel sheet which is uploaded in the Blackboard. Before we measure the course learning outcomes or the CLOs, we need first to have our course learning outcomes which are stated in the course specification. Here is the numbers of the course learning outcomes, and here is the aligned course learning outcomes to the PLOs. A very important point is that here we have the aligned PLOs. So we have, for example, 1.2 and 1.3 aligned with K3. However, we need this for the program level when we measure the program learning outcomes. But for the course level, each CLO should be measured specifically. The second point we need to do is that every assessment method should be put in a table, and in this table we have the CLOs here aligned with the questions in order to make the measurement easy when we put them in the Excel sheet. Before we talk about the Excel file, we just would like to introduce the content of the Excel file. First, we have two sheets here. The first one is the CLOs achievement and the assessment methods. We need to click on the first sheet here. We can see now the CLOs and how they are defined with the numbers of the CLOs according to the course specification. So the first point we need to do is to align the CLOs stated in the course specification with the table here. After filling the information of your course here, you just go back to the course specification, look at the numbers of the CLOs, then put the numbers of the CLOs here. For example, 1.1 aligned with K1, and then I have, for example, here K3, K3.2, 1.2 and 1.3. I just align these CLOs with the correct numbers. If you have different CLOs, please make sure that they meet the exact CLOs stated in the course specification. After that, you need to put the names of your students and the list of their IDs. Then you have the different assessment methods stated in the Excel sheet. Then we need to go back to the mark sheet of the student. For example, here's a final exam. Let's say, for example, the student here gets 9, 8, and let's say 7, maybe 9, 18, and etc. Okay, then we'll have the total. For 1.1, I have 9. The student here gets 9, so I need to go to, for example, this is the first student. In the final exam for Q1, let's say, for example, question number 3 or whatever the number of the question, I put the mark as 9, and then I do the rest with it. So, for example, here, an example here, 1.28, I go to 1.2, final exam, put 8, then I go back, 1.3 again is 8, I fill it as with the final here, 8. And then we complete the marks of the students according to the number of the CLOs with the specific type of assessment method and the specific questions which are stated here. Let's say that for 1.1 in the final exam, I have one question for it. So instead of getting the total of the average for the student score for 1.1 in the final exam, I have got this equation in order to have the total of the students. For example, if we fill question number 5 again for 1.1, if it's stated in the final exam and we have the result, we need the total of the averages in this result. But to avoid break down the equation, just please, if you don't have more questions, just select these cells, then delete them, and then you'll have the answer. For example, here we have 2 questions for the midterm, so we delete the last common, and then we have the total of the averages for the students' scores. Then you do the same with the rest of your CLOs in the course according to the students' results. Here in this Excel sheet, we have 7 CLOs. If you would like to add one more CLO, you just copy this part and then you paste it here. and that's it. Usually the CLOs are from 6 to 8, but ideally it's good to have 6 CLOs for each course. Then when we finish from filling all these CLOs, the results of the CLOs, we just go to the next sheet. And here we have the average of students' scores for getting the CLO number 1.1, okay? In the direct assessment method, here we can use this column for the capstone or core courses in the program in order to make specific surveys that the students can evaluate him or herself, or by adding questions to the course evaluation survey, such as I can describe the concepts that relate to the meaning of applied linguistics. In this question, the student gonna evaluate him or herself in relation to the ability of describing the concepts around the meaning of applied linguistics. Then the next column will have the total marks of the direct and indirect. Then after that, we'll have the maximum mark of each CLO. For example, for 1.1, if I go back to 1.1 for this course, I have, let's say, 5 marks and 5 marks. So I have 10 marks for the midterm, then I have 10 marks for the final, and I have 5 marks for the quizzes. The total mark will be for 1.1 is 25, so I need just to write 25 here. When press enter, then I have the percentage of students' achievement for CLO number 1.1, and there is increasement in achieving the target. Please note that the CLO's target should be no less than 80. However, it might be difficult that the average of all students for achieving 1.1 will be 80 or more than 80. So if you have students got between 70 to 80, it's good to have improvement plan for this CLO. However, if it's less than 70, so please make sure that you state and put an action plan for improving the achieving of this CLO.